Yeah, to me, you know, sometimes I wish that we knew one language, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, when I was younger, you know, when I grew up, I thought everybody knew the same language, you know.
Yeah.
Mm. It's not the case, you know. I do love different cultures and things, you know, but like, you know, there are different languages out there, do you know what I mean? You think, in a kind of way that you know, like we're at war really with languages itself, you know, in a funny way, you know, like, it'd be good if we lived in the world with one language, I think.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I don't think there'd be war, in a funny way, you know.
I still think there'd be war, but I definitely think that communication in a whole, in a general sense, would probably be a lot more improved on a global scale, if you see what I mean, in terms of countries communicating with each other, if you see what I mean. I still think there'd be war, because man always finds something to be at war with each other about. Whether it be land, or resources, or money, or something. They find a way to go to war with each other. You know, war is big business, you know. And the ones that fund the wars and orchestrate the wars profit heavily off of the wars, you know. But yeah.
But you know, language evolved over, you know, the last 5,000 years.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
You know.
Like early Sumerian days, like from Sumeria, you know. You know, all these, you know, even in Egypt, all the hieroglyphs and stuff like this, like they used to have depictions of things that was an expression of something. So they would draw they might draw like what might look like a creature or an animal or something, but it's actually an expression for something, if you see what I mean. It actually means something, like, you know, it's an idea that was like artistically, if you see what I mean. I think the right word is anthropomorphized. I think that is the right word, I think. Where it's basically an idea, a concept that they, you know, an expression, you know, that they've, you know, artistically, you know, depicted, if that makes sense. But yeah, even like, you know, people have been, you know, communication, they've always, you know, even like back in, like I said, even back in times when they used to just make sounds to communicate, you know, they might make two clicks, they might make a noise with their mouth, and the other, you know, the other person next to them knows what that means, you know, they make, you know, the person in return makes, you know, makes three clicks with their mouth, and the person says, oh, you know, realizes what that means, and, you know, you know, I'm sure ever since man realised, you know, sound, you know, you can make sound, you know, we can speak, you know, I'm sure we've been communicating in some way, shape or form, you know, even if we weren't, you know, just obviously making, you know, we weren't using words at one point, it would probably just sound like, you know, so, you know, yeah, like certain sounds must have meant certain things, like, you know, you see what I mean, you know.
Yeah, evolved slowly in time.
But words have it, yeah. Obviously, we have so many different languages. Like even today, like, okay, like if you look at the Bible, say for example, like the modern day Bible today, the King James version of the Bible and the newer versions of the Bible, all these Bibles and stuff, like they were initially, you know, they were, you know, come out of the Hebrew script, the Hebrew and Aramaic scriptures, and translated into Greek, and then from the Greek to the English. You know, that's why, you know, from the Hebrew and Aramaic into Latin, and from Latin into Greek, and then from Greek into English, if you see what I mean. So, like, you know, it's, you know, it's very, very interesting, you know, how it's all grown, and, you know, yeah.
I think, like, words are very important to learn, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, like, public schools, kind of schools I went to, they didn't really teach me to be self-employed or anything like that, you know, or didn't teach anything to do with philosophy or anything like that, you know. No, you know, no, I just wonder why they don't want children to be educated, or people. You know what I mean? I mean, children, I look at them as people.
Yeah.
You know, they're young. And
but
they've got souls.
They are the future, essentially.
You know, again, in a kind of way, to explain it? Some words divide us.
Mm.
You know, like for instance, child and man.
Mm.
You know, and when a child's not a man, he kind of wants to be a man. You know, and it kind of, you know, when you know, and they say as soon as you're 18, you become a man. You know, but it's not true in a kind of way. You know, it's words.
Yeah.
To divide us. You know.
Yeah.
In a funny way. You know.
It's ideas. It's man's. Basically, we got somewhere along the lines. People said, okay, when you hit 18, that's the right age to be determined that you are now a man. Same thing for a woman, or 21, depending on where you live, because some places in the world it is 21.
The truth is, even age is a word, and it's made up.
Yeah.
You know, and it describes really sort of that, like trees, for instance, they age. You can tell by the rings and all this kind of thing.
But all age is the obviously, it's the amount of days that you've had around the sun, essentially. You know, because you know, because
whether that's true or not.
If you've got 365 days in a year. Obviously, man-made concepts, of course. Again, you know, but
exactly, you know,
it's used for measurement, isn't it? If you see what I mean, it's used for measurement in terms of, you know, we can measure. Our kind of.
But say animals don't age themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't got any books either. Do you know what I mean? It's only humans that do this in a funny way. You know, they got all this illusion in a kind of way, you know, like there is an age, you know, whatever. We do age.
We do age, yeah.
You know, I told you, like, water don't age, okay? I don't think gold ages either, does it? You know, it just stands still, do you know what I mean? There's certain things that don't age.
Yeah.
You know? I think planet Earth is aging, whatever, you know, but you know, again, age is a word, you know, do you know what I mean? And it's just describing to us that like a plant is young and then it gets old and dies, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and even the word die is a word, do you know what I mean? That means that you're not alive anymore, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and so on.
Yeah.
But really they're just words, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, once words didn't exist.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, now we've got things to understand in the kind of way, you know, because we've got words. You know, and we there's the word death.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That we all dread.
Yeah.
You know.
But when you use that word, anyone that speaks English knows what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
So it's a reference.
Everyone in English does, but like maybe in Spain they don't, whatever, you know.
Well, I'm sure some people might do too in Spain too.
Well, some people might learn English.
I think deaf might be a universal word, if you know what I mean. A lot of people understand what deaf means, you know. You know, if you know what I mean. It's one of those. It's kind of like music or money. If you see what I mean, there's certain words that are kind of like, because they're universal concepts and collective things that we all have to deal with and enjoy and have. I think it's kind of, you know,
So we're not really here for very long at all. You know.
Yeah.
Trees are.
But how many? Like we said before, how many years of our life do we spend asleep?
A third of it, maybe, or
a third of it, or fourth of it.
Yeah.
If it's someone that sleeps a little bit less.
Yeah.
How much of our time do we spend cooking? How much time do we spend taking a bath or a shower? How much time do we spend brushing our teeth? How much time do we spend going to the toilet? How much time do we spend going to the supermarket? How much time do we spend cleaning up around the house, washing the dishes, emptying the rubbish, hoovering the floors and mopping down, cleaning the bathrooms, you know?
I mean, when you look at the future, that's the future, mopping the floors.
Like how much time do you spend at work? How much time do you spend, you know what I mean? Like, we spend so much of our time not actually doing all the things that we necessarily want to do, you know? So when you do have the time to do what you want to do, make sure you do it.
How much time do you spend in your own body?
Yeah. Well, how much of your own time is actually your own time? Now that is the question.
Anyway, we're not talking about time, we're talking about words.
No, I know.
I know.
I'm
saying.
I know.
You know.
But yeah.
But time, you know, that's another word, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It describes time.
Exactly. When someone says, what's the time, what time is it, we know what they're talking about. You know? Yeah. Like if right now we were confused what time it was, and I said, said to you, mate, oh, what time is it? You can say, oh, yeah, oh, mate, it's, you know, X, Y, Z. Oh, thank you, mate. You know,
Mhm.
I'm okay. I haven't got to get a train yet. I haven't got, you know, I know where, you know where you're at, kind of thing, don't you?
You do in this world.
Yeah.
You know.
But what I like about language and words is the more you learn to master the language in which you speak, and the more you enhance and grow, and your vocabulary becomes more extensive, and the better you are at communicating and articulating yourself and conversing with people, the more you are able to handle yourself in any environment, any scenario, any circumstance, any whatever it is you're dealing with. You're able to articulate yourself in a way in that particular setting, depending on who you're dealing with, who you're talking to, and your surroundings and circumstances, if you see what I mean. So, you know that like you were saying earlier, you know that you're going to conduct yourself in a different way. If you're in a business meeting or an interview, or you're going to conduct yourself in a much more professional, confident, assertive manner than you would when you're maybe just chilling out with your mate, if you see what I mean. Because like you're trying to portray yourself in a certain way, if you see what I mean. Let's say, in that instance, So knowing how to interact with other people depending on your circumstance and environment is a big key in life. I think the more you can do that, I think that the more successful you can become. Because great communication usually leads to success. So.
I think going back to education again, like I could be a teacher for a day, and teach children. When you teach children, they got to have fun. They got to enjoy the day.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like they will remember the day if you take them for. I can remember sort of like going out for the day sometimes.
Yeah.
I used to take take. I mean, I went to Wales for a week once, and that was nice, And I can remember it all.
Yeah.
I had fun, and it was just a very, very good experience, that was.
Yeah.
But when you're stuck in a classroom every day, day after day, do you know what I mean? Learning things that you don't really necessarily understand or want to learn, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just want to draw or whatever, or do your own thing, but you've got to do what you're told. It's not very nice, really, It's a bit depression, I think, and children should be set free of that.
Yeah.
They should be, I think it should be against the law, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Locking children up like that.
Yeah.
But I think I feel like I could teach children so many things, there's certain things that children or everyone needs, even adults, need to learn, like for instance, kindness.
Yeah.
Because like kindness, some people are kind for the wrong reasons, or you can be too kind, or greed. We need to learn about all these things, do you know what I mean? And they don't.
Yeah.
It's like they're giving children lines or telling them to write a story or, just not, and we've got television, for goodness sake. It's one of the biggest educational weapons in the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In one way, and you can just put a program on, teach people how to be kind, and everyone will know. Put an advert on, for goodness sake, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's get educated in this world, and I don't understand why we're not helping the less, with education, because it's important.
It is very
for
important.
everyone,
It is, yeah.
Learning about what respect means, what love really means, or, I mean, I understand love more than anyone else, because I've lost, whatever. I should be a teacher with, teaching children love or people love, about love. Don't, it's a bit of a trick, don't fall in love with things because you're going to get hurt, do you know what I mean? In the end, but you've got to fall in love with things.
Yeah.
It's like I love all the flowers, do you know what I mean?
You can't live your life. You can't hold back in life worrying about worrying. You can't live your life worrying about what if you see what I mean.
But like
it's not healthy.
Like I say, like it's all right learning these words, like children do. They learn the word love.
Yeah.
They learn the word hate, but they need to know what they mean.
Yeah.
They need to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just find that education is a bit shockingly shocking.
A bit shockingly shocking.
Yeah, shockingly not good enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm.
You know, and I find like my education really was, I can't remember it. Really, you know, not much of it.
Yeah.
You know? And I find it a bit disappointing really, you know, that I was pulled away from my mother, you know, and I didn't really see her much because of it.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really learn how to read or write at school, you know what I mean? So, what a waste of time, you know, for me it was anyway, my experience, you know, but, you know, I can see school being good, but I don't see the way schools are or have been.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, obviously it does serve a purpose, of course, you know. Education is important.
Children, you know, like, families lose their bonds because of it, you know.
It's true.
It's like your son, you don't really see him much because he's at school, or you're at work, you know. You know, and he's in bed sleeping, you know, or you're sleeping.
It does, well, we already know what it is with that already, you know. It's, you know, divide and conquer, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, but I'm saying that you'd rather sort of like your son going to school 2 days a week, say, and then 5 days off.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
So you can.
I'd say at least 3.
So you can have a little bit more.
I'd say at least 3 days a week. 3 days a week would probably be sufficient.
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday, maybe.
Yeah.
But obviously we already know the 5-day school week is just another indoctrination for when people get older and they go into the working world and they've got to work a 9 to 5 or whatever the case may be. You know.
Yeah.
It's just it's, you know, predictive programming in a sense. You know, it's instilling that in you from a young age to, you know, be awake at a certain time, to be at a certain place at a certain time, to be there for a certain amount of time, you know, throughout the day, and then going home after it, you know. But yeah, going back to words and language, like I was saying earlier, I think people have to be very careful. We need to kind of unlearn a lot of the stuff we've been taught and kind of like reprogram our minds in a sense about, you know, things that we've been taught in life and, you know, etc. You know, and I think that's also very applicable to when it comes to language. I think we need to start learning to speak as individuals in a way that is healthy, and I think what I mean by that is speaking life into existence, if you see what I mean, not projecting anything negative or hateful or you know, anything that is not respectful or kind or anything like this, if you see what I mean. Like, we need to learn to speak instead of saying, you know, I hope it's going to happen. Say, I know it's going to happen. If you get what I'm trying to say, we need to. That's why I think even today you get a lot of people talking about affirmations, doing affirmations where you get up in the morning or just before you go to bed or whatever time you get throughout the day, you know what I mean, just to sit down and just say, I am healthy, I am strong, I am powerful, I am successful, I am driven, I am motivated, I'm inspired. Like, you know, you are essentially programming your mind and your subconscious. You're putting these thought patterns and this thought process and these ideas into your mind, if you see what I mean. So essentially you're reprogramming yourself and your mind, essentially, you know, and your body, you know. So what I'm basically trying to say is that we need to learn to speak life into existence. Don't, you know, be more positive and more direct in the way we speak, you know. Don't say you're sick, say I am healing, if you get what I'm trying to say, you know.
That's another word, isn't it? Like success. Okay, well I know that we had an episode on success once, you know, but with words, you know, like love, you know, what is success? You know, I mean, a clown, the best clown in the world, right, could be successful.
Yeah.
Successful clown.
Yeah.
You know, the most funniest, stupidest clown in the world.
Yeah.
You know, that falls over all the time. That makes everyone laugh.
Where?
can be successful. You know, because he's famous and he's earning lots of money. You know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? From what he's doing.
Yeah.
Successful clown. So what is success? You know, you can be stupid and be successful.
Yeah, you can do. You can be. Yeah.
If you know what I mean. You know.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of words. You know, they mean. You know, people look at words like they use them too much.
Yeah.
In their vocabulary, like I love this, I love that, you know.
Yeah, true.
You know
Yeah,
I mean?
they use certain words
too
that's it, too loosely. They use them too loosely, and they become meaningless, like you said.
Yeah, you know, as I say, I think it's all down to education to make people or help on people to understand words' true meaning, you know.
Yeah.
And, like is different to love, isn't it? A little
Of
bit,
course,
you know?
yeah. There's a differentiation there.
You know, and I tend to use like a lot more than I do love. You know, you know, you only use love when you really do love something. I think,
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
It's a different. Yeah. Exactly.
You know, and hate is a strong word too. You know.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be used too much.
No, dislike. You could say I dislike something. Doesn't mean you hate something.
Yeah.
Just because you dislike something, like I might dislike eating a certain food, doesn't mean I hate it. I just don't like it.
And you know, like for instance, that word. I mean, I just said it right, but I don't really say it much. You know, only if I'm talking about it as a subject, if you sort of mean. But there's not really much I really hate in life. Do you know what I mean? You know, there's certain things I dislike, I think, but not hate. I kind of understand it, you know, in a funny way, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that word, funny.
Yeah.
It's a funny word. Makes me laugh, that word.
Yeah.
You know, laugh. You know, that's another word.
But if you break it down, it's fun. The word funny comes from the word fun.
That's right.
So something fun was happening that made you had a response where you laughed. Something fun, and then that in turn becomes funny.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's funny.
But yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
There's lots of words I love, you know.
It's like healthy. If you break down healthy,
Wealthy.
it's heal thy. If you break down the healthy, break it down into two words. You've got heal thy. Basically mean heal thy. To heal thyself.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. Like, there's lots of words that are like that. You can break them down.
Then you can sort of take the H off and put a wow there, wealthy. I think there's a few, you know, and you can do that to a number of words, you know, like, you know, it is interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Apparently, like the English language evolved from spiritual sort of witchcraft. A lot of it.
Well, a lot of it, a lot of it. A lot of the English language is
magical.
based on spells, you know, That's why they, like we said earlier in the beginning, you know, that's why it's called spelling. You know, they teach you how to spell at school. You know, your parents tell you when you go, you know, when you get home from school, you don't forget to do your spellings. You know, don't forget to do your homework. You got any spellings from school? You know, they're spells. You know, people are casting spells when they talk. You know. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, you know, we don't realise, you know. But your thought is an electrical signal, and same way when you speak and you send words out into the atmosphere of the ether, your words, are a sound, which is a vibration, which in turn becomes a frequency.
It's getting beyond me now.
Yeah.
Beyond me. It's going beyond my brain.
So that's what it is. You break it down. Your thought pattern, your thought that creates you to say something you're thinking about, that thought you have creates an electrical signal. Then in turn you speak. It creates a vibration. Because it's sound. And then the sound in turn creates a frequency.
And those frequencies, what he's coming to me from his voice now, go to me, and my electron communicates back.
Yeah. because it's sound. Like our mind, when we're talking, like even us talking to the camera right now, when people are listening, it's just sound. What you're hearing is, as we obviously we know it. I know it's it's obviously we're not silly or anything. It's sound, but our minds are decoding. If you see what I mean, as we're listening, our minds are decoding what we're saying.
And not just that, everyone has got a unique individual voice.
Yes.
And a different frequency to, like I'd be able to recognise your voice on the phone.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to recognise me now, won't you?
Yeah.
Within the first word.
Yeah.
You kind of your memories.
Your mind recalls that. Yeah.
Oh, your memory, I love it. Because it memorises every word.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even the word magical. And all this sort of stuff. Imagination is kind of almost got the word magic in it. And you got magnets. They're kind of magic as well, because when they move each other.
Yeah.
Without anything, you can imagine when man picked up a couple bits of metal, right?
Yeah.
A long time ago, a couple of cavemen or whatever, maybe not that far, but they picked up some metal and they realised they had some sort of magnetical power. They must have thought it kind of magical.
Yeah.
And kind of weird, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's taken them sort of quite a few thousand years to understand it all in a kind of way, what magnetic power is in a kind of way, But you can imagine sort of a long time ago they must have thought it's weird, it's spiritual. Do you know what I mean? It's
Well, back then a lot of stuff that was.
They used to kill witches.
Anything scientific, and a lot of times that people that had scientific like advancements or like experiments or things that they'd managed to like produce or like create. A lot of time it was deemed to be witchcraft, like you're saying. People were deemed to be heretics and stuff. Not saying that everyone back then, because there was a lot of people practicing witchcraft and stuff too, back in those times, just like there is today. But a lot of those people were innocent people. A lot of the people that got deemed to be heretics or deemed to be witches or wizards or warlocks or whatever it is they call them, they used to burn them at the stake, like you said, and that was, sometimes it was just pure science where they were, using different chemicals and different stuff like this to produce different creations and etc. It's like even with electricity, the person that first discovered how to harness electricity and stuff, they probably thought he was some kind of some kind of wizard or something. But I always said to them, listen, this is just how, through the elements, these different elements, the way that I've put them together, I'm able to produce electricity through the combination of. So all it is scientific exploration. I've managed through trying to put these different elements together over time. Now I've managed to put these 3 or 4 different elements together, and I've managed to produce an electrical charge that can now produce a light or something, whatever, So
it just evolves slowly. I'm telling you, It just evolves slowly. I think somebody must have got electric shock and things, and
for sure.
They want to study it,
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm saying. Like in the early days.